right, guys, this week we're going to be talking about the idea and purpose behind storyboarding. And I'm going to show you a typical storyboard. Then I'm also going to show you what mind mapping can look like if you're doing that. And then finally, kind of just show you what infographics look like if you were to combine the idea of graphics and information and storyboarding and kind of putting it in a graphic visual form instead of just video and portraits. So when you are processing information, your brain actually processes visuals 60,000 times faster than text. That is why this class is important. It's why we emphasize visual storytelling because visuals just allow us to process things quicker. We can conceptualize things a lot better if we can see them visually. And just visuals have been a part of storytelling since the beginning. So instead of telling somebody an idea that you have for a project or a video or a campaign, you can use these three ideas of storyboarding, mind mapping, or infographics to get that idea across. I like this quote by Martin Scorsese. He is, of course, a famous director, and he said that storyboards are not the only means of communication for what I imagine, but they are the point where I begin. And I think that is a very important quote. It sets the idea of what we're going to be talking about today, because storyboards aren't just like this fancy way of like telling your idea. They really are a way for you to put your idea to paper and kind of suss out and think about what you want, clean up ideas, see if they work, see if they don't, have variations of ideas. And it's really where visual projects start. Now, a storyboard is something really simple. Basically, I'm sure you've all seen one, and you may have not known it was a storyboard at the time, but what it is it's a series of panels that have illustrations of what each shot or photo or idea will be in a project. And then underneath it, you will have the kind of shot that you want. So if it's a medium, a close-up, an establishing shot, maybe what camera angle you want, what kind of lighting you're going to have, the location. It just kind of helps you list out everything, kind of sketch out what you're thinking so that you can go back to quote unquote the drawing board if you need to change anything. It kind of looks like the comic of a movie or a television show, except it's what comes first. In advertising or PR and other kind of environments like that, storyboards are often used to pitch ideas to a client. So if you've ever watched like Mad Men, they have the big poster boards that they kind of show the clients what they're thinking for campaigns. And the idea of a storyboard or a pitch or anything like that is really just to help you get your idea across. It also helps make production easier because you already have a plan, you already have your thoughts spelled out. And so from there, you can go to the next steps in a quicker fashion. So this is kind of what it looks like. This is a storyboard from The Lion King. It just shows each shot that they would want to illustrate. And of course, this is coming from Disney animators, so it does look, professional. If you were to do one, it doesn't have to look like this. You can use stick figures and, kind of just get your idea across. It's really just to, again, get the idea to paper. Here's another one. This is from Frozen. This was kind of the storyboard sketch. And then when they put it into the computer to digitize it. And with that, I just want you to think, like, why would you want to do this? Well, one, it's a roadmap, right? You can keep going back. We don't always remember our ideas the exact way that we want to. I mean, you go to sleep, you have other things on your mind. You can get things confused. And so this is a way for you to go back to it, check what you were thinking, add things, take away things. And it also allows you to share what you're visualizing or to kind of play around with it. I know not everyone is a visual learner, but because this is visual storytelling, this is a way to get those ideas out there. And again, it makes production a lot more streamlined. It can save you time. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. You're just trying to get the idea on paper. So with that, there are a few ways that you can storyboard. You can create blank slides or find a template on Google. You can add parts of your script to it. You can add scene notes, camera directions. And then, just again, sketching it out. I just want to emphasize that storyboards do not have to look professional. Again, we always see the examples of what they look like from like Disney animators or Pixar or things like that. These guys go to school for animation, but when you are doing a storyboard, it doesn't have to look like that. I want to show you a video that talks about storyboarding and the process of it before we move on to mind mapping.
Hi guys, it's Gary here from Acme, and today we're going to talk about storyboards. So, what is a storyboard? Well, glad you asked. A storyboard is a guide on how a film is going to look, a way of visualizing all the shots in a film before you actually go out and capture your footage. Kind of like a comic book, but not. Panels and storyboards are usually rectangular, and that's because they represent the camera frame. Storyboard is usually created using a shot list. And a shot list breaks down all the information found in a script into a list of, yep, guessed it, camera shots. Storyboard is a way of illustrating what those shots will look like and everything that will be in the camera frame when that shot is finally filmed. You should illustrate where things like your characters, objects, superheroes are in relation to one another and the setting they're in. You'll also need to work out what shot type you'll use to cover the action and the emotion you want. So are you going to use a long shot, a close up, an extreme close up? In this sequence from Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, we'll see a long shot to show us the setting and our characters within that setting, then a close up to show us the panic on their faces just before Indy gets pulled off a moving motorbike and into a car. As your storyboards get more advanced, you can use arrows to indicate how or where a character is moving, as well as camera movements such as panning, tilting. You don't have to be a fantastic illustrator to make storyboards. The reason why storyboards are so important is because once you're out there filming your masterpiece, you're not going to be making everything up as you go. When you're filming, there is so much going on. So if you have a visual plan for each shot of the film, you'll save time and avoid a stressful situation.
Okay, so as you can see, it's really, again, just visualizing what you want to have for a final project. And it could be video, it can be portraits, it could be a comic book, lots of different ways that you can storyboard it. But if you don't like to work in rectangular shapes like that, where it's like one right after the other, what you can do is use something like a mind map. And that allows you to have like a central focus. And then from there, you make branches of what can be put into the idea, the final project, whatever you're working on. So this one, of course, is a version of Cinderella, right? You have the carriage, you have the chores and accessories. Like it just goes through and kind of breaks down different scenes and what the character is going to be like, maybe what kind of settings they're going to have. Just another way to put ideas to paper. Again, here's another way to look at it. You can, branch out and then keep branching out until you have everything kind of sourced out the way that you think is the most organized, is the most detailed. If you want to mind map instead of storyboard, what you do is you identify the main idea that goes into the center of your page. It can be in a circle, it can be text, whatever. And then you start branching out from there. And then you support these ideas with more important information or research or your camera angles or your script. Then you can start connecting all those ideas together and how they play throughout the campaign or the movie or whatever. The thing with mind mapping, though, is that you want to make sure that you're planning your space accordingly because you're going to have lots of information that branches out and you don't want to like run out of space or it be really cramped. Again, here's another way to do it. And there's not one right or wrong way to storyboard or to mind map. Really, it's just whatever works for you visually, whatever works in your brain to get the idea across. Now, you may have to explain it to others, or you may have to adapt as you're going if you're working with a group. But all in all, it's just a way to help you get organized and to really plan everything out. Now, infographics is another way that you can do this. I feel like infographics are a little more polished. We use them all the time for posters and presentations. And so they're not as, you know, easygoing or unprofessional as like storyboarding or mind mapping is. They are a little more put together. But if you like doing this kind of thing, you like seeing it organized, this is another way to do it. Usually, infographics are kind of a collection of imagery, charts, and little text. They give you an overview of a topic in a very digestible way. They're usually very visually striking, understood, and enjoyable. They usually go with one topic and they have a really good flow to them. So here are two examples. Heart disease is the number one killer in women. They do a whole fundraiser about red dress and the awareness in February for that. And so here's all the stats and data for that. Here's one that is how we spend time on the internet. Basically breaks down like if you're stressed about it in the workplace, how much time you spend on it a week, where you're spending that time. And it's just, again, breaking down information into a digestible visual platform. So all three of these ideas are just a way for you to get started. I hope these will help with your projects as you start working on them and really getting into the production part of it. And you can use them to really suss out your ideas, especially working with a group.